This is an Agile 62527. At $430, it is one of the most, if not the most, inexpensive multi-scale 6-string set neck guitars on the internet. Now, is it worth that, or do you get less than what you pay for? Let's find out. Starting off with pure specs, we have a mahogany body with a quilted maple veneer, a maple neck set with a purple heart fingerboard, which I will get into later, 24 frets, Grover tuning machine heads, generic plastic nut, a Agile single saddle bridge, master volume, master tone, 3-way selector switch, passive Cephas blade humbuckers, and of course, the multi-scale. Now, if you're unfamiliar with multi-scale guitars, the idea is pretty simple. You have a standard 25.5-inch scale on the high E, and it increases linearly to 27 inches on the low E. Or in my case, in drop B, B to C sharp. And the purpose behind this is that you have a familiar feeling scale length to a Strat, Taylor, whatever you have that's 25.5-inch scale length, which is most guitars nowadays, and you get the benefits of having a long scale on the low strings. Some of these benefits include better intonation. You can really beat the string before it starts to go out of tune. And if you want to tune lower, you don't have to get giant thick strings. On this, I have D'Addario 11-56, so sort of skinny top, heavy bottom. And it holds tuning in drop B, drop A, just fine. Personally, I think the multi-scale feels fantastic. I love having this longer scaling for the low B string. You get a real nice punchy low note out of it. If you are into low tunings, such as drop B or lower, then I highly recommend trying a fan fret or a baritone scale guitar. On the topic of things I really enjoy about this, I love this quilted maple veneer. This is an absolutely gorgeous guitar. When I first got it, and I opened up that case, I was actually blown away by how good it looks. It was quite an interesting experience indeed. Now granted, I thought it was a little more red in the pictures, so this is more brown in person, but I would say it looks better in person, and the red-brown thing is not a bad thing at all. The matching headstock, it's a nice touch. Another thing I really like about this guitar is this single saddle bridge is actually really, really nice. Before I even got this guitar, I was looking on Hipshot's website to make sure they had a replacement, and after half a year of owning it, I have decided not to go that route. I just haven't seen the need. This bridge is rock freaking solid. That combined with the Grover tuners, this thing holds tuning exceptionally well. And these Grover tuners are very, very nice and smooth, easy to operate. I highly recommend them. The volume knob feels nice and smooth, and the knob itself has a nice amount of grip on it, and it has these cute little red acrylic things to help you know where the potentiometer is. All the way on, off. And the neck joint is very, very comfortable. Upper fret access is incredibly easy, even though I'm a terrible player and I never play up there in the first place. But if I ever wanted to, it's there and I can do it. The fretwork on this is pretty good. There's no sharp fret ends to speak of, so that can come as quite a surprise for a sub $500 guitar. And the neck profile I really, really like. It's a slim C profile, it's not too thick, it's not too thin at all. I'm really a fan, it's a perfect fit for me. I love the way this neck feels. Now for the fun part, where I get to tear Agile a new one and complain about the things that I don't like about this guitar. First and foremost, the most piercingly obvious complaint I got with this guitar, I noticed this when I first started playing it, is the fretboard. Like I said earlier, it's Purple Heart, and it feels like crap. There's almost no getting around that. It's not a very hard wood. There's a lot of resistance to it. I don't know if you can hear that. That's my finger trying to scrape along it. That's just... And the frets. You might not be able to hear that, but... yeah, they're scratching. Bends are quite forced, which is, it's not a good thing. I was so bothered by this that when I first got it, within days I had the strings off and I was trying to re-oil the neck. And I honestly pulled out my steel wool and polished the frets too. Which, that is not something you should have to do on a brand new guitar. Now, granted, this was marked as a B stock guitar. But the only reason for that, as indicated by the website, is for some finish marks. Right along here. They're a little pitted, but you can't feel it at all. It doesn't affect playability, and I never noticed them. And it was like a $100 discount. So I went for it, and plus it was the only one left. I was gonna pay for a regular condition one. But, nevertheless, I got it, and the fretboard just feels awful. Also, when I first opened the case, I noticed the truss rod cover was loose. Kind of a quality control issue in my opinion. However, it did need a truss rod adjustment anyway, so looking out for me, Agile. I don't like this Purple Heart fretboard, and I don't think I will ever buy another Purple Heart fretboard guitar ever again. It's too grainy. You can literally stick your fingernails inside these grains. It does not feel good. I can't recommend this to anyone. The fretboard, at least. My second biggest gripe are these pickups. Primarily, the pickup in the neck position. If you notice, there is quite a bit of space between the 24th fret and this neck pickup. I measured it and it's about an inch. A full inch. Now what happens is when I go to palm mute, I miss pinch harmonics, but if you notice, my pick is right over that stupid pickup. I guess you could say I have large hands. I wear extra large gloves, but still, that's just a major design flaw. Why would you put the neck pickup right there? If you look at this picture of a Legator Ninja fan fret, you'll notice that its neck pickup is almost right next to the 24th fret. If I were to eyeball that, having only the picture and no dimensional references, I'd say that's probably a 1/4 inch away, as compared to the full inch that is the Agile. And overall, these pickups, I don't care for them very much right now. Here's what these pickups sound like dirty. First the bridge. Middle. Neck. And clean. Middle position. Neck. I liked them when I first got them. They were nice and high output, and I thought that was okay. It was good enough for metal, but about a month or so ago I went to a guitar shop and I played an LTD MH1000 with the Seymour Duncan Pegasus and Sentient sets, and I realized that these pickups just have a lot to be desired. And that fact got reinstated when a couple of weeks ago I went to my local guitar center and played a PRS SE Mark Holcomb signature with his Seymour Duncan Alpha Omega set. Those pickup sets, they just rip. They sound amazing for the kind of music that I play. These, they're just not doing it for me. Now, I would absolutely love to put one of those pickup sets in this guitar. However, there's a major flaw. I can't do that. Now, this is sort of inherent to most all fan-fret guitars, but the pickups have to be slanted. And in order for all 6 strings to be within the magnetic field of the pickup, you have to upsize the pickup. So this is a 7-string size pickup, and it has blade pieces instead of pole pieces. So my options for pickup swaps are incredibly limited. Another note is that these are passive blade humbuckers. So if I wanted to go like a Fishman Fluence route or an EMG, then I would have to do the extra wiring to get the battery in, and maybe even route out a battery cavity, because clearly there is none. So I've done plenty of research on this, and I think the only pickups that are passive that will fit into this and work would be bare knuckle Blackhawks or lace Illumitones. Personally, I've been thinking about the lace Illumitones lately, but I've also been thinking a lot about getting a different guitar, primarily with a straight baritone scale, so that I could use some of those Seymour Duncan pickups. Some minor complaints: this tone knob is a little sluggish. Like, for some reason, you got smooth, slug, smooth, slug. I don't get it. This pickup selector switch, it's kind of cheap. It's got a lot of play in it. It works, but I think it could be better. For some reason, I didn't notice this until I got it, these tuners are the tiny type. Like, the size for the 6-in-line, like on a Strat or a Tele. I can only imagine this is for cost reduction, but every other, 3x3 headstock with Grover tuners has the large style, like a Les Paul, a Schecter, etc. Another thing, when I first got this, the nut, this corner right here, is quite sharp, and when you're going to do a first fret bar chord, you kind of jam your finger right into that. But I was actually able to mend this with a file. I'd like to somewhat close with a little story. A few years ago, when I was really starting to get back into guitar, I bought a Douglas WRL 550 off of a friend for $50. And it was a pretty awesome guitar. It was a neck through, not a set neck, they're different. It had a beautiful green lacquer finish, Grover tuners, a licensed Floyd Rose bridge, same volume master tone, but a 5-way switch because it had a humbucker, single humbucker. And it played like butter. It had a rosewood fingerboard, so that guitar was made well before the side East treatment was in place. I love that guitar. And that guitar was one of the biggest reasons why I decided to give Agile a try, because if you're not aware, Douglas and Agile were like this. They're both distributed by Rondo Music. But now for some reason, Douglas just makes guitar cases, which is kind of weird. I think the main difference between them was that Douglas guitars are built in China, Agiles are built in South Korea. But I don't think it was unreasonable of me to expect a smooth playing fingerboard from Agile when Douglas could do it for less. So overall, I would say you do get what you pay for with this guitar. My biggest gripes, once again, fretboard and these pickups. They're not good. They're not good, and there's next to nothing you can do about that. If you're still thinking of looking into this or buying one or giving Agile a chance, I would definitely check out their Scepter Elite. That is a straight baritone scale guitar, has EMG pickups, and a maple neck. So already that takes care of my biggest gripes. As I raise my standards and I'm looking into regular baritone scale guitars, I'm kind of finding that I would likely be spending upwards of $1,000. That Legator I brought up earlier, that was $2,000. Granted, it was also looked like a much higher quality instrument and had Fishman Fluence modern pickups in it. So I would like that, but that's a $2,000 guitar and this was $330. B-stock. Only time will tell how long I decide to keep this Agile around and use it as my main drop B guitar. Well, my only drop B guitar. Have a great day.